It was good, Josh, man. The Bigga P, and here to share my post-fight thoughts on both the Showtime and the HBO card. First, I'll start off with the HBO card. The opener was Felix Verdejo versus Juan Jose Martinez, I believe that's his name. Um, Pretty much, all I can say about this fight is, it was a better performance, as in Verdejo's last couple of fights were not the best, particularly his last fight. Um, in this fight, I saw a little bit. I saw a little bit of what I saw in the last fight. A lot of movement, a lot of unnecessary movement. Um, the Mexican that he was fighting, he was hanging in there tough. But I wasn't seeing anything. But I was just seeing the same thing over and over again, except in the fourth round. He lands that right hand that basically ended the fight, and then Felix pretty much jumped on him and batted him across batted him on the ropes for a referee to stop the fight. So it was good, because it's PR Day weekend and all, that he managed to actually get the fight. He managed to get the win in that fight. But still, I still was not, still not overly impressed because, like I said, there was just he's either just too tentative or his hands are still bothering. There's something that's still off on him. But like I said, he managed to get in. But then he managed to get the knockout. So I guess I'll have to wait until a couple, till his next fight, just to gauge him more, just to see where he's at right now. Um, Now for the main event, it was Vasyl Lomachenko versus Rocky Martinez. Now this was Lomachenko's. The whole thing they were hyping about it was Lomachenko's. Lomachenko would probably be the first fighter to win belts in multiple divisions with the least amount of fights. I think that was the big thing that they were hyping up. Rocky Martinez, the champion, has came off two hellacious fights with Orlando Salido. My only question for this fight was, I had two questions. Was A, would Vasyl be able to adjust to the weight at 130, or or another thing is, was Rocky or did Rocky, have the fight beaten out of him to a degree after those two, like I said, those two hellacious Lita fights? Um, I got my answer pretty much in the first bell. I got my for both questions pretty much in the first round. Rocky came out flat. I just don't know whether or not the movement. If it was just the movement or the angles that was bothering him. But also too, he had no fire whatsoever. Like he couldn't do any. Like he pretty much was there just as a punching bag. He was just getting whooped. Um, I couldn't really believe why he was getting whooped the way he was. But um, but yeah, like I said, it pretty much boxed him beautifully. It was just textbook going to the body. The left hand, the right hooks. I mean, he Vasyl did his thing, and the knockout itself was spectacular. It was he shot a quick left, you know, a quick left, and then bam, a right hook right on there that flattened him. Uh, there was nothing to say. It was a spectacular knockout. I honestly thought that he would have at least some trouble, but he beat Rocky with ease. It was even like I myself, I've never been the biggest fan of Lomachenko, but I have to give credit to where credit is due. Um, he was absolutely spectacular in that fight, and of course he picked up. Now he's a belt holder at 130. Um, Now where I see now, hopefully I know. Hopefully there's a lot of because like I said, 130 is a very packed division talent, both at the champion level, and with the contenders. So hopefully, there's no more, facing these obscure fighters that he had been facing in in this last couple of fights, and actually get in the mix at 130. Because he would make for some very interesting fights there. As for Rocky, I just don't like I said, I just don't know what happened. He came out flat. He was just the footwork was just he was just confounded by the movement and the angles. He couldn't do anything. Like he didn't do a damn thing. He landed with like one good right hand in the whole fight, and that was pretty much about it. Um, I don't know if you want to say that he needs to. He may need a soft touch. I think he may need some rest. I don't know, but probably the best thing for him is just to probably get a soft touch in his next fight, just see where his head is at. Whether or not it was just either it was just Vasil was just too good for him, and he's still a contender, or is he actually starting to slide after all those after the wars he's had? Um, I mean, we'll see. And now the Showtime card. The Showtime card was overall was pretty good. Uh, the main event though was you know something. The main event I didn't expect for it to happen the way it did. I'll get to that. I mean, the first one was Dehan. I could never pronounce his last name versus Momani. It was supposed to be against Linares, but I know Linares, I guess, had suffered an injury, and then was not couldn't make it in time to actually defend his belt. So he's now what the WBC calls a champion in recess, which pretty much meant they wanted to get the belt on somebody. So pretty much, I mean, I wasn't expecting. I was expecting Dejan to probably much win because I was like, I'd never. I mean, his first opponent I never heard of before, but his first scheduled opponent was they bowed out to Illis, and then this guy I never heard of before. And that guy for as long as the fight lasted, my money actually was trying. I mean, although I thought it was gonna be a quick night because he got wobbled pretty much within the first couple seconds of the fight, and then after that he was going to the body, which is like okay, the guy has a strategy. He has something in there, but he simply couldn't maintain that, and pretty much got. I mean, the first solid right hand that he caught, he was wobbling all over the place. I know I'm sure the referee like missed a knockdown on that on one of those on that call because I was like he touched the canvas. I mean I'm pretty sure I saw him touch the canvas, but it was all for nothing. I mean yeah, I mean he had basically the referee had to save him from himself because as he got battered along the ropes. So now Dehan is now lightweight champion, and most likely will be facing Linares once Linares heals up from whatever his injury was. The second fight was Demetrius, let's see, Andrade versus Willie Nelson. This now, if there was a fight that was ever a statement made, it was this one. Yeah, Willie. I don't know who's in Willie's camp or whatever, but when you're 6'3" and you only threw by CompuBox measures threw only 4 jabs the whole fight, a fight that went 12 rounds, something is wrong. Very, 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 very wrong. A guy with his physical attributes should never have a fight where he's only throwing 4 jabs in 12 rounds of fighting. And the thing with Willie was his strategy was, I'm guessing, just to high guard it and move forward because it worked for him when he fought Tony Harrison because Tony Harrison got worn out from doing that and Willie was able to take him out late. That didn't happen early because Demetrius was on him and dropped him like head first in the end of the first round. I thought the fight was over by then. And then Willie, instead of didn't make any adjustments, he just kept on high guarding it and moving forward. Made no adjustments. There was like maybe one round, I think it was the 8th round, where he decided to actually throw caution and actually brawl with them, like actually let his hands go. But for the most part, he was just, Demetrius was just spectacular, just punching through the guard, moving around, like battering him. I mean, it was a spectacular performance. But I got to the point where I think I was getting tired. I was like, this is like, I think it's like between 10th and 11th. I was like, okay, close the show. Don't do like what Willie Monroe did earlier on the show Extreme card. Close the show. And then after that, he started battering him again. 11th round, he dropped him. And then the 12th round, it was just, anticlimactic. He just battered him, chopped him a couple more times. By then, Willie was just completely spent and tired as he had just taken too much of a beating. Demetrius just put himself on notice that on 154 that he is a major player. And 154 is one of those divisions I've always thought that had lots of potential, but it had the politics up top. that is like Floyd holding two of the belts and not really defending them. So now with the belts now Floyd's grabs, I mean, hopefully we'll see more of a mix that's going on at 154. As for Willie Nelson, he has a lot of work to do. I mean, it was kind of disgusting watching the man who was 6'3" and just not use his height, not use his attributes to his fullest potential, man. And it was that and it cost him the fight. It was just, I mean, he needs serious work. Um, if he's going to be competitive against um, the higher tier fighters at 154. So, and then the main event was Ruslan-Provodnikov making his Showtime debut versus John Molina. I know this fight got a lot of hype as a fight of the year type candidate. Um, Simply because Molina had his against Lucas, which he got beat up, and then Ruslan about 3 years ago had his against Timothy Bradley, which is I just said, which is still one of the damnedest brawls I've ever seen. Um, I've ever seen at welterweight and from overall. Uh, Personally, I didn't get those vibes. Although I recognize his potential, I was of the mindset that Molina was just a little bit too long in the tooth, a little bit on a slide, in order for me to think that he would be effective to actually beat Ruslan. And Ruslan is Ruslan. I thought he would stand. William would stand in front of Ruslan, and Ruslan would just pretty much batter him around until the referee has to save him, from serious harm. I was wrong. One of the things about Ruslan was he's confounded by simple movement and jab. I mean, this is the reason why he lost his belt in the first challenge to Algieri. Basic boxing. That's why Lucas pretty much beat the absolutely beat the crap out of him. Bradley this thing is Bradley had to go, literally, Bradley beat him, barely beat him, and then we have Herrera who went through hell to actually beat him. Same thing, movement and such. It was one of those fights. I was disappointed because it's like Ruslan. I mean, there was no fire in him. I mean, he plotted for it. I mean, at times he did move his head, but not enough. And and Molina, I still don't think is 100%. I think he's still on the slide, but he made Molina look like $1,000,000. I mean, Molina was over here like boom, 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 boom. These were telegraph punches, boom, 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 boom. And it was like, I'm like, come on, Ruslan, like, why are you telling me you can't move your head? Why? I mean, it was so. I mean, it's not like I've never seen Molina do boom, 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 boom. I've never seen him do that in a fight, and it was so telegraphed. I was like, this was it was bad, and it was like he was just getting outboxed, and he could and Ruslan barely did hurt Molina once. I couldn't believe this. Yeah, and like I said, the scores, like he won. Molina pretty much fairly won that fight easy. So with that, I mean, Molina probably extends his career again. Um, and no, to what level I don't know, but we will see. Whether or not he'll probably, Al probably throw him in against someone like maybe the likes of Omar Figueroa or somebody like that at 140 or 147 remains to be seen. But I can't take anything away from him. Like he boxed Ruslan up intelligently. I wasn't expecting it, and so kudos to him. Ruslan, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, he mentioned that he lost and he lost his hunger. I don't know what that means. I don't know if the fights are taking hold on him or it's just bad strategy. I don't know. I mean, I can't say if it's a slide because Ruslan, the guy, doesn't get hurt by punches to the head. I mean, I've never. I mean, this guy takes punishment to the head like so many, like nothing, and I've never seen him hurt from a headshot. So I can't even say if it's like a slide, but something was clearly off on him, and it was disappointing. And especially this is his Showtime debut. I mean, he got the A1 treatment and everything, and then he was given an opponent that pretty much he was expected to steamroll. So I mean, I think only Chavez Jr.'s probably had a worse fuck up, from a debut like this. So yeah, I guess he's have to go back to the drawing board. Um, because yeah, that yeah, this it was not the type of fight that he should have lost. And like I said, it wasn't the fight of the year, and it didn't end up being the fight of the year either, because like I said, Molina used his head for other than actually just taking shots. So like I said, kudos to John Molina, and I was a little disappointed with Ruslan. So overall, it was a good weekend of fights. Except I really hate when these start airing cards at the same time, because that's when I have to have TV on, and that's when I have to have my Fios TV app on my tablet on, and watching both at the same time, trying to catch stuff. So hopefully that this stuff, because I think there's like 2 weekends in a row that this happened. So yep, we'll see what happens going forward. So yep, until next time, peace.